Did you know that our muscles are constantly being broken down and working to rebuild? And that optimal protein intake throughout one's day can help promote this process? If you're like many athletes, you may know that food is important, but this may not be enough to help you understand how. Perhaps you skip breakfast too often, eat fast food for dinner, and snack on not so energizing foods as you prepare for practice or school. I get it, the stress and fatigue of an intense exercise schedule can mean that thinking about foods starts to feel more like a chore than something to enjoy. One of the most common fails when it comes to choosing healthy foods or having a game plan for your diet happens when we allow ourselves to get too hungry. Because we're skipping meals and waiting long between meals or snacks, when this happens, we can start to feel irritable or like we deserve a reward or a treat. To keep hunger at bay and to provide a steady source of fuel for our brain and bodies, we need to think about consistent nutrition. When it comes to building a strong nutritional foundation, the following guides are very important. Number 1, eat a variety of foods from each of the 5 food groups at meals and at least 2 of the 5 food groups at snack time. Number 2, think about how your plate is balanced at meals and snacks. Later, we'll talk about the importance of balancing carbs, protein, and fat in the right combinations for fuel for our bodies for performance, rebuilding, and consistent energy. Number 3, get familiar with serving sizes of foods and what you need in a serving to fuel your body based on your individual goals. This is where meal plans can be helpful to give you an idea of how to create meals and snacks based on common food exchanges. So why does it matter that we eat a variety of different foods? Because not all food groups provide the same sets of nutrients to the diet. For example, most grains provide a good source of carbs and B vitamins and fiber, whereas proteins provide, protein, but also important nutrients like zinc, iron, and other important B vitamins. This is why the AAP recommends that we consume foods from all 5 various food groups. Grains like whole grain bread, pasta, rice. Proteins like lean meats, nuts, and seeds. Vegetables like leafy greens or other colorful vegetables. Fruits. And dairy like milk, cheese, or yogurt, or high-quality alternatives for those who are lactose intolerant or avoiding dairy. Ensuring that we're getting a variety of foods from all of the 5 food groups in the right proportions will ensure that we're getting a variety of macronutrients, which are carbs, protein, and fat, and micronutrients, which are vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. It's also important that when we choose foods from each of the food groups, that the foods are as close to their natural state as possible. So for example, oranges versus orange juice, or baked potatoes versus French fries, or whole grain rice versus enriched white rice. When they're in their natural state, they'll often be less processed and contain more nutrition per calorie than their counterparts. But it's not only important that we eat a variety of foods, but that we eat it in the right combination of those various food groups to balance our overall nutritional intake. And that we balance our plates at mealtime and snack time with the right components of the various food groups. At meal times, we want to try and think about our plate as a circle. Probably as a circle, but we'll think about it as a circle. Ideally, we don't want a plate that's more than 9 inches in diameter, which just means 9 inches from one side of the plate to the other. When we look at our plate, we want to try and envision 4 quadrants, where the center of the plate is divided down the middle, and each of the halves is then divided into 2 additional halves, but with a larger fourth of the plate than the other side of that same half. the larger fourth of that right side of the plate, we want to fill this with whole grains. For the remainder of this half on the same side of the plate, we want to fill this with lean proteins. For the other side of the plate, we want to fill the larger fourth with non-starchy vegetables and the remaining fourth with fruits or starchy vegetables. We'll talk more about the difference between starchy and non-starchy vegetables later. Another common mistake that athletes make is around portions and understanding what makes up the right size portion for your age, weight, health, and performance goals. Again, this is where one-to-one meal planning with a dietitian can be very helpful. You can click on the link that'll show you exactly how many servings you need for your age, weight, height, activity level, gender, and health goals. If you have any questions, you can also email our nutrition experts for guidance.